Matt Moscano, who does a wonderful job covering the Southeastern Conference in college football in general, but he is based out of Baton Rouge and does most of his work on 104.5 FM ESPN radio down in Baton Rouge.
Like that Bud Light bottle, by the way.
Yeah, and Matt is the guy down there who was talking about Lane Kiffin, his approach to his comments this offseason, and specifically the reaction to the Vanity Fair story where he made some comments about Ole Miss and the state of Mississippi.
That pretty clearly is Lane Kiffin saying, hey, Ole Miss may be better than us in 2026, but we're not worried. I didn't come here for 2026. I came here for the long tail. And I kind of think about 2007. 2007, LSU won the national championship. 2007, Alabama went to the Independence Bowl and lost to ULM. In a one-year sample, you would look at the two and go, LSU won this deal. Over a decade and a half, there ain't no comparison. Lane is sort of dropping breadcrumbs out there to say, hey, this is still year one. Like, we established a really good thing over there. They got their quarterback returning and a 1,500-yard rusher, and they're the head coach was the defensive coordinator, and they got continuity there. Like, they may be better than us this year. It's what he's saying. And I'm here to tell you, he can say that all he wants. That ain't good enough.
That's Matt Moscano down there. So off of all of this, it's the old key rattling from Lane Kiffin that in year one, Lane keeps preaching patience and he also said, I wish we had a spring portal, which tells us maybe there's a position or two he wants to shore up. All this fire and brimstone, he's going to go in there, and if he loses this game, Matt Moscano says, this is a long-haul play for Lane Kiffin and for LSU.
Well, sure.
You don't have to have it this first year.
But he's not doing himself any favors by setting this up the way he is. Like, he is just continuing to add dynamite. And, look, the expectation is going to be, I think LSU is going to be a slight favorite in this game.
Matt, and maybe this is the perception in Baton Rouge, I don't know, but I don't get the perception people think Ole Miss is going to be better than LSU. That's what kind of
I don't either.
Surprised me right there. And to compare,
national rankings, I think it'll be close to start the season.
Matt even says at the end, that ain't good enough.
Yeah,
no,
it's not.
It's not. No. I don't know about you, but I don't know what the percentage is. If we did at Calci, who's a better team this year, LSU or Ole Miss? LSU is the bigger percentage for sure. I think everybody thinks, the general public, the college football analysts, the people that cover the sport,
let's just
think
look at
LSU is going to be better than Ole Miss.
What is the roster number? Like, LSU definitely spent more on this roster.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, there's no doubt. They were spenders.
Well, we got some NIL valuations we can get to here in this segment, but I think it's closer right now than most people would expect because you had to pay to keep Trinidad Chambliss and had to pay to keep Kejuan Lacey. Do you have those NIL numbers?
Yeah. I've got them now. Listen.
This is from College Front Office. And explain to us, Brown, are these real numbers or not real numbers?
Well, what this is, and we want people to hear this because we are not saying this is absolutely what these teams spent. College Front Office does NIL valuations of every major player. So as a player goes to a school, they just start adding up those NIL valuations.
They probably take the on-3 valuation. I'm not sure if they do their own.
I have no idea.
Yeah. On-3, I think, set the standard of coming up with the NIL valuations. I don't know if they create their own or if they're playing off of the on-3 numbers.
So based on that, they give you an estimated roster value. What, based on our valuations, this roster would look like. Texas, it shouldn't surprise anyone, is based on their estimations, number one at $47.9 million. Miami, number two at $44 million. Ohio State, number three at $43.5 million. LSU, number four at $42.8.
Boom.
I'm not going to get lost in the dollar figures, but would you guys be stunned if that is your top four? Texas, Miami, Ohio State, LSU. So
that is this year's roster.
That would be this year's roster. That is their valuation of it. Now,
no, it would not shock me.
I'm not saying this number comes from the team, like, hey, here's how much we're paying. But it wouldn't surprise me if that's your top four, regardless of the dollar figure to the right.
Yeah. To your point, okay, say it's not 47, say it's 39 for Texas.
They're still number one.
But you still believe Texas is one.
I do.
Say it's not 44 for Miami, say it's 37.
That's right.
But Miami's still number two. Yeah. I would agree with that, that the perception anyway is that Texas, Miami, Ohio State, LSU Oregon, Notre Dame. I see Texas A&M sneaking in there.
And then there's Alabama.
Or some big spenders.
Yeah, Alabama was a team.
That surprised me.
8th in the nation at $37.2 million based on their valuations. Again, this is not saying this is what Alabama is spending. But based on their valuations, they've got Alabama at number 8. Now, would that surprise you?
Yeah, that would. I mean, just
between Texas A&M and Texas Tech.
Yeah, I mean, just based on the poor mouthing that I've heard from different people that are kind of involved, and like the different fans that are like, we can't compete.
Yeah. And this is why the cautionary stuff Brownie said is important, because this gives me the belief that Alabama can be one of the top 8 spenders in college football. And I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't either.
But as a fan, if I'm watching this, I'm like, well, if these people are correct in what they're talking about, which I don't know if they are or not, but if they are, then Alabama's a top 10 spender in college football. That excites me if I'm a fan.
Yeah,
I don't know that to be true. Another thing that could be true is that that's Alabama's roster valuation, and that maybe Kalen DeBoer and Courtney Morgan got some deals on some guys. They didn't play, top street value for some guys that because of
when
relationships or something, they've got a price. They got a deal.
I mean, when Brock Purdy was making $1 million, his valuation might have been $10 million.
That's right.
So it could be a little bit different. The thing that surprises me are teams like USC, in Michigan, in Georgia, like Alabama to have more money than those teams.
I've always put Alabama and Georgia in the same category. I feel like their NIL, based on what I've heard out of Georgia, I feel like their NILs are a lot alike.
But you would definitely think USC and Michigan would be more.
You would think.
Let's just roll down this. Texas Tech, Tennessee, there's Ole Miss, the comparison with LSU. There's Georgia, there's USC. There's Oklahoma, who I never hear having shortcome of money. There's Michigan, we know what they have. There's South Carolina.
Look at little old Indiana.
Yeah, little old Indiana. Where'd they come from?
Indiana, Florida, there's Clemson. Houston, there's Auburn.
And before you raise an eyebrow at Houston, which does seem a little bit out of place, Tillman Furtada, the restaurant owner's got money, and he's been the guy that has been the donor for them.
Yeah, but again, that's roster valuation. So just because Auburn is there doesn't mean that Auburn's not willing to spend what those other teams are. That's just the people that are on the current roster. Am I reading that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the people that will play this year. That is where they have set their collective value.
Yeah, but I would also say this is what these teams are willing to spend too. Because you could spend more to get better players.
I know, but could I do that in the short period of time if I'm Alex Golich? I'm just speaking to Auburn specifically. That doesn't mean
But
that's
isn't that about where you think Auburn's going to fall, though?
I don't. I think Auburn and Alabama will be a lot closer together.
But I mean, Auburn's still at that point, top 15?
I mean, that's closer to 20, I think. But maybe. I don't know.
I think when you look at these, Scott, scroll down, scroll to Alabama and just click on Alabama, because now this is going to show us what they value each player at Alabama. And I think when you look at these, the first one's going to surprise you a little bit, but past that, I don't think they're way out of whack.
Yeah, I mean, Austin Mack I saw was like $2.1 million.
That's what they've got. That would surprise me.
Yeah.
But Ryan Coleman-Williams at 1.6, would that surprise you?
No.
Should have taken a pay cut.
Keelan Russell at 1.4.
Yeah. And see, this is where, if I'm Courtney Morgan, that sites like this become a problem, is if these are not true numbers.
Yeah,
right?
If Austin Mack's making $600,000, he's like, hey, Courtney.
Yeah. But the one thing I know,
my value is 2.1.
And Keelan Russell's coming in and saying, wait, is Austin Mack getting 2.1 and I'm getting 1.6?
Yeah.
I mean, those are the type, or 1.4.
But the one thing I know is every coach in America, if asked, are these numbers true, they will say no. These coaches do not like to tell you what they spend in NIL for that very reason, Jim. They don't want people doing the math.
Yeah. And again, I don't know if those numbers are true or not. I understand what valuation is. It's somebody's projection of what you could possibly make.
Yeah, I don't think the Austin Mack number is right.
Yeah, that was the first thing I saw in this that jumped out at me a little bit. Yeah. But I don't think those other ones were way out of whack.
No, I would agree. But if you would have said Austin Mack's the highest paid player on this roster, not a chance.
Yeah,
we do have some hard factual numbers from Matt Stahl, who writes for AL.com. We will get to those numbers in our next segment, because this is freedom of information stuff from 15 public universities who have to give this up from fiscal year 2024 through 2025, the numbers we gave you. These are hard numbers from the SEC of what kind of contributions were given to athletic departments. And we will look at those numbers when we come back and talk more on the field football. Matt Stahl, great journalist, capital J, with AL.com, and he got the Freedom of Information. I feel like that's his job now, is to send out all these Freedom of Information stuff.
Wow.
He gets that from all 15 public SEC schools on all sports contributions for fiscal year that just wrapped up 2024 through 2025, the records that are available. The last year. This from Matt Stahl, AL.com. Texas by far the most in all sports donations, not all of this to football, but it's over $150 million. Their graph is different than everybody else's. Size matters when it comes to contribution. Tennessee second, over $100 million. Oklahoma third, Alabama fourth. Alabama's range right there with most of the other SEC schools, LSU, Mississippi State, Auburn, Georgia A&M, all the way down to South Carolina, the smallest, in all sports contributions. Matt made a point, though, that Texas had the most football-specific donations. Alabama was second donations in the SEC directly for football. So take out all the other sports. Texas 1, Alabama 2 when it comes to football-specific donations.
Yeah,
and this is from the boosters.
Yeah, and this is not total amount. This is just different donations, right?
This is what is given to the program, contributed to the program. That
Money-wise.
Money-wise.
Not
So
total
it is
number of
total
donations.
amount.
Yeah,
Yeah.
total
Okay,
amount. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So second only to Texas, Alabama was.
That's surprising.
A little over $53 million in fiscal 24 through 25.
Yeah, and 10 years ago, if you would have said, hey, there's going to be this NIL world, I would have said Alabama will spend as much as anyone. The reason this kind of surprises me now is just what we have heard over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, Alabama doesn't get painted as a poverty program, but gets painted as a program that cannot keep up with Texas, Texas A&M, Ohio State, schools like that.
Well, the fact is, I don't think there is a billionaire graduate from Alabama right now.
There may be, but he doesn't live in Alabama. And how...
I don't think there is.
Oh, I would guarantee you there's a billionaire graduate from Alabama. Now, is there a billionaire graduate that gives two rips about Alabama football? That's a totally different story. And there's not one that lives within the borders of the state of Alabama.
You say that. How many billionaires are there in the States?
I'm just going to Google. I guarantee you Alabama's got a billionaire graduate.
I don't know if they
That's a
do
big
because I
school.
think we've only got like 300 or 400 billionaires in the entire country.
That number has gone up tremendously
It has.
in the last decade or so.
But, I mean, again, having a billionaire graduate is one thing. Having a billionaire graduate that cares enough to give is a totally different prospect.
Why would they go to Alabama, Brown? Don't go for the education?
Well, these are only giving me Alabama ties. Notable University of Alabama business alum Marilyn Hewson, former CEO of Lockheed Martin. I don't know if that makes you a billionaire. Vicky Halhoub, CEO of Occidental Petroleum. When I'm a CEO of a petroleum company, I got a shot.
I think I used the robot one day and Googled how many billionaires are graduates of the University of Alabama.
Well, there's 900 billionaires in the United States.
Yeah. But there again, if you are a billionaire and you love football like Cody Campbell at Texas Tech, now you got something. Or Mark Cuban at Indiana, now you got something. It's hard to get these billionaires, crazy as it sounds, to part with their money if they don't care. But the fact that Alabama is there without the obvious billionaire, without Cody Campbell, without Mark Cuban, without somebody like that, I mean, I think if you're an Alabama fan, it does give you hope of staying pace in this NIL world, that you can get the donation level to that point. But at some point, is that the highest you can ever go? I mean, that's what you don't know. Who's capped out right now in their donations? I'm not saying Alabama is. Is Texas? Is Texas Tech? You know, who's got the most that they'll ever have right now at this moment in time?
Yeah, and who can keep doing it year in, year out, year out,
I will
which is where we are right now. Who's got
Yeah.
the fatigue and who doesn't have the fatigue?
I will say this, and it may not mean a hill of beans, okay? It may not mean a hill of beans. You guys tell me if you think it will. In the Saban era at Alabama, Alabama's enrollment...
That's an old school saying, by the way.
What?
Hill of beans.
A hill of beans. In the Saban era at Alabama, the true or false, the enrollment exploded. I think it more than doubled, right, while Saban was there.
Yes.
All right.
It could have almost tripled.
Yeah, I don't know that it got that high. I think it's at somewhere around 40,000 right now. I guarantee you, Lance, when you were a student at Alabama, it was below 20, and it's somewhere in the 40s now. So every year now, you are graduating more people than you've ever graduated. So you're sending more Alabama alums into the world than you ever have. that's got to help you at some point, doesn't it, as far as donations go? Because all those kids came
would have to. Yeah, I mean, a lot of them came to Alabama
because of football.
Yeah,
because of football. And
Right. I've got a little insight into this. It was 28,000 when my freshman year at Alabama in
which was
2011.
what? 11. Okay.
Yeah, mine was
and
16,000.
By the time I graduated in 2015, it had ballooned to 35,000.
Yeah,
just in 4 years.
Just on pure numbers.
Yes.
On pure numbers.
And the majority of that was undergraduate enrollment.
And odds, some of those guys are going to strike it rich, or girls are going to strike it rich.
And the point I was going to bring up, too, was, I met my wife. She's from New Jersey. We met at Alabama. They have gone into pockets of the Midwest, the Northeast, to the West Coast with recruiting offices. Like there was a kid that I was friends with at the student radio station there who was from Connecticut, one of the most wealthy states in the entire country, who said UA set up at a college fair there. Like they had recruiters that they were trying to recruit out-of-state students from wealthier areas of the country.
Yeah. So see, I mean, those kids are going to go build a business somewhere, and you hope one or two of them strike it rich.
Well, look, they've got a list. Forbes does the top 400 richest people in America.
Alabama in yet?
There's not an Alabama in the 400.
Okay.